Okay, hi guys, it's Juno here with a new video. Today is July 14th as I'm filming this, and today I just did my permit test not too long ago. I went to the DMV at 9 o'clock, around there, and then I came out of the DMV 11:30-ish. Yeah, so anyway, I passed my permit test. Yes. So I passed my permit test, and I'm gonna tell you my experience of my permit test. Yeah, so basically we went to the DMV where I live. We got through the driveway through the DMV. It was very packed, so packed that my dad had to drop me and my mom off before he can park the car. So yeah, when me and my mom went out of the car and went straight to the door of the DMV, there was a whole long connected from one end of the room to the other end of the room, and it was basically forming an L shape. We went to get the forms for the DL44, the driver's license 44, 2 sheets, one yellow and one white. The yellow one was for renewal of your driver's license and permit, and then the white one was for a new permit or a new license, like you're signing up to do your license and stuff, or you're signing up to do your permit or state ID, because that's what the DMV does. So when we got to that section, my mom and we grabbed one paper, and then my mom's like, try to fill out most of the things that you know. So I filled out my name, I filled out my birthday, I filled out my eye color, hair color, weight, height, yeah, and my address. And I didn't know my social security number because that's with my mom, and my mom filled that out. And then it had more informational words about it. When we were done with that form, I had a couple empty spots saying what was I here for, and then of course the applicant's signature, because I didn't know if it was mine or my mom's signature. So after the forms, we went into the line, and the line is right next to forms. So after you do your forms, you can go straight into the line. So when we were in the line, I kept on studying for my test. 30 minutes into waiting in the line, a dude came up, and he was a DMV instructor, one of the workers there, and then he asked each customer in line what do they need questions, if they have questions about anything. And when he came up to me, my mom, and my dad, because my dad's already there after he parked the car, my dad asked a question, what do we need for her permit test? But they already knew what they needed. They needed my birth certificate, my social security card, maybe my passport, but we didn't use my passport. What else? That's it. Yeah. So the guy told my dad that, and then that was just it. When we were going closer to the lines to do the permit and the driver's license things, because it's connected to one whole room, when we got to the line, we went into one of the stalls. I gave the white paper that I had in my hand, and I gave it to the lady, and then the lady said, I need IDs from mom and dad. So my mom and dad gave their driver's license to the lady, and then the lady asked, I need her birth certificate, mine, and her social security card, and my mom gave it because she always has everything, so she gave it. And then after I had to sign the white paper that I was holding, because it asked for the applicant signature. So just sign here for mine. I'm like, oh, okay. And then she also asked for my age, and I said 15 and a half. Since it's July 14 of 2017, I am already 15 and a half, because my birthday was on January 14, 2017, and you know whose birthday that is, Kai's and Grant. So yeah. So when we got there, she was so shocked, because she's like, wow, so that makes you 15 and a half today. And I'm like, yeah. It's like, wow. And then my dad's like, huh, she likes to drive already. And I'm like, oh god. About getting the IDs for me and my mom and my dad. She made my mom and dad sign 2 forms. Well, no, 2 forms for my mom and 1 for my dad, saying one of the forms is saying that they gave me the rights for me to drive, and then the other form my mom had to sign it by herself. It was for the address of Residence Street that we live in. So that happened, and after she asked for me to do my vision, and you know, my vision is very bad since I am recovering from an eye infection from my left eye, and she asked me if I had contacts or glasses, and I said I'm wearing my contacts right now. And then she's like, okay. So when I did the vision test, basically what happened is my right eye passed and my left eye didn't. Why? Because my left eye was recovering from an eye infection. This was the eye that was recovering. And then she said, oh, okay. So like, she understood the problem, and she made me try multiple times on getting the vision correct. And then after multiple times, she's like, okay, so the right eye passed and the left eye didn't pass, but I'm gonna make you take the test anyways. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I saw my vision. She put 20/40. So 20/40 is that a person with 20/20 vision, a perfect vision where they can see 20 feet ahead of them, can see 40 feet ahead of them when I can see 20 feet ahead of me. Yeah. Basically. So anyways, after that, she said I needed to pay my dues for doing that, and then the dues were $2. So after that, my dad went outside because my mom said, oh, you just wait in the car already, because she knew that I was gonna take my test pretty soon. And then we went into the cashier line. The cashier line was very short. It was like right next to the line that was waiting to be at the windows to do the permit and the driver's license. Yeah. So when we got there in the cashier line, my mom gave me the $10, and then I was like, they only said 2. And he's like, yeah, it's okay, just give me the change back. And I'm like, okay. So when the cashier lady said cashier, and then I went up by myself, and I'm like, I looked back a second, like, the heck, my mom's not coming with me? And she's like, go. And I'm like, okay. So I went to the cashier, and then I gave her my white paper, and then she said, okay, $2 for your dues. And then I'm like, okay, give her the 10. And then after she gave me the change, she gave me back my paper. She told me that the test was gonna be down to the right end of the hall, just go through. And then I'm like, oh, okay. So I gave my mom the change, and then I went down to the hall, and then I turned right, and then there was a door, and then the door was behind the line that I was waiting for in the beginning, where I had to get the windows and stuff. So I'm like, is this a line or is this not? And then I asked the guy if the door, like behind the door, was the testing room to take my permit. And then he's like, yes. And I'm like, okay, thank you. And then me and my mom went into the testing room. I said to her, sit on the bench on the left side of the wall by the door. And then I went to the testing line. I waited there for like 4 minutes, and then the guy that was doing the test said, okay, come up. And then I came up to his desk, and then I gave him my white paper. He said, okay, so this is your permit test. He gave me a very long white test booklet. Well, not really a book, it was front and back, and it was wrapped in plastic and a green paper, and he attached that with a paper clip. He gave me that, and he said, okay, take a pencil, write down your first name and last name, and then mark an X through the answer that you think is right, and when you're taking the test. And after when you're done, go to on this side of my desk and hand me the test. And I'm like, okay. And then since the testing room, well, it wasn't really a room, it was really a section. So the testing room, I went to sit on the farthest left corner because I wanted to be that kind of person. And a dude, like 2 people were already taking their permit test. And then I was like, wow, okay. And then one of them, her name got called up after I sat down. And I'm like, okay. And then she got her white paper back, and then she went back into the other room, and then I was like, okay, she's probably done with her test. And then so on the permit test there's 30 questions and you have to get 26 out of the 30 correct. So when I got to the halfway point, which 30 divided by half is 15, so when I got to the 15th question, the other person, a guy, he was already done with his test. And then he walked up to the guy's desk that he said to walk up to when you're done with the test. He gave his test, and then the guy said, okay, just sit down and let me calculate your score, to the guy, because it is a section and I heard them because they were like 10 feet away from me. The guy sat back down into his seat. That probably happened to the girl, and then she probably passed. And then when I got to the 25th question, almost done with my 30 questions, the test clerk called up the guy, and basically he told the guy that he didn't pass, and that he had to retake his test next week Friday. And then I'm like, I hear this like 10 feet away from me. I hear this, and then like inside of me I was like, oh, am I not gonna pass? Am I gonna pass? Because I was having self-doubt, because one of the people in that room passed, the other person didn't pass, and then I'm the third one in the room and I'm still taking my test. So I was very structurally taking my time with it. And then after I was done, I walked out to the bench, and then he already called another person to do his test, and that person already got his stuff, and then he went to take the test. And then the test clerk said, back down, and then I'll call you when I finish grading your test. And I'm like, okay. And then I sat back down, and then I was like, hi. Like, I felt relieved because I just did permit tests, and like, if I don't pass the first try, that's okay. But like, a part of me inside wanted me to pass the first try. So when the guy called me back up, he said, okay, so you have 4 wrong on this test, which means that you pass, because the total amount of wrongs that you can get on the test is 6. I failed 4 questions. I passed with flying colors. I passed. And then so he said, okay, review your answers and tell me if you understand or not. And then I reviewed my answers, and then like when I reviewed those answers that he circled, I'm like, why did I pick that answer? Like, it was so stupid of me. And it was the questions that I wasn't concerned about. I was certain that this is correct and whatnot, because it was before the dude passed his test. Like, the dude got the bad result that he had to take his permit test again. But I wasn't very stingy of that, because like, I don't know, I just wasn't stingy of that. And then he's like, okay, so your due for your permit ID is $5, and you just head to the cashier again, and then after the cashier you just wait and get your picture, and after the cashier you can go get your picture taken, and then you're all done. And I'm like, wow, okay, thank you. I thanked the guy for giving me the test and stuff. And I walked to my mom. My mom's like, you passed? And I'm like, yeah, because I had a big plastered smile on my face. And then she's like, oh, good job, good job. And then walking to the cashier, she was like, I knew you passed, because the guy was like this on the side. Like, he was like on the side. And then I'm like, Mom, you're telling me this Wow. Like, I thought my mom was really surprised, but no, she knew it before me. And when we got to the cashier, I again paid it by myself, and I paid the $5 with my mom's money because I didn't have money. So I paid it with the $5 that my mom gave, and then the cashier said, okay, just wait on the side by the picture booth, and then you'll get your picture taken. And I'm like, okay. So me and my mom went to get seated in the picture booth, and then I think it took 20 minutes that I had to wait in the picture booth to get my name called and do all the pictures thing. Yep. So after that 20 minutes, he said, okay, sure, all this information on the screen is correct, and it asked about if my name was correct, my address was correct, and my height and weight was correct. And then I'm like, okay, yeah. And then he's like, sign here. And then I signed, and at that time I didn't know that signature was gonna be on my permit. Okay, anyways, so after I signed, he said, okay, place your right thumb on the fingerprint scanner, and then I placed it. And he's like, place your right index finger on the fingerprint scanner, and I did it again. And then he's like, place your left index finger on the print scanner, and then I did it. And he's like, okay, take a step back and smile for the camera. He said stare at the bottom lens because that's where the camera is. And then I stared, I smiled like this, and then, well, not exactly like that, but I smiled. So I smiled, and then after he's like, okay, you can go sit back down and I'll call you when it's ready. So I went to sit back down, and then like all of a sudden I felt a tap, like I heard tap on the window behind me, and I looked and I saw my dad. And then he's like, and then I'm like, oh gosh, even he knows. I'm like, mom probably texted him and stuff. And then but I'm like to him back, and yeah. So basically, my dad did this. Every time he does this, it means alright to him. Me being his daughter, that's how he congratulates me. After the waiting to get my permit, the dude that took my picture said, okay, Janelle, come up here. And then I'm like, okay. And then he handed me my permit. He ripped off like half of it so I can like stick it on to each other back to back later. And then he's like, okay, drive safely. And I'm like, okay, thank you. And then after, my mom and I left the building, and then we met up with my dad, and he's like, all right. And I'm like, oh gosh. And then basically we went home. That's the end of my story. Yeah. So basically I passed my permit test with 4 questions wrong. I had 26 out of 30. I had 26 out of 30, and you can get 6 wrong on your permit. I'm not sure if it's regarding to your state also, because I live in Hawaii. I don't know if regards to yours. You may live in California, Alaska, Minnesota, Tennessee, Kentucky. You may live in those states or any other states, or you may live outside of it, and how you get a permit or driver's license is very different from where I live. So yeah, so basically this video is dedicating to my experience and telling and reminding myself that I did pass my permit first try, even though I failed 4 questions. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and you're stronger than you think you are. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.